Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Storyline Time, where we dive into the past, the present, and the future in the world of professional wrestling, and we write our own stories along the way. My name is Shane, and today, my story details the debut of Mike Bennett and his wife Maria Kanellis on the brand known as SmackDown Live. Now, for months, the couple has been rumored to be debuting in WWE on the SmackDown Live brand. They left Impact Wrestling in March of 2017 after spending about a little over a year there. Before that, they were in Ring of Honor and New Japan Pro Wrestling. And they've been getting more and more, I don't know if you want to say famous, but they're getting more well-known around the world of wrestling. Maria, actually, she was formerly in WWE. She had much success there, where she was the former Slammy Award-winning Diva of the Year, as well as she was the last diva of her time to grace the cover of Playboy magazine under the WWE banner before the company went PG. As I said, now the couple has been rumored to be joining WWE, and they have been rumored to be joining the SmackDown Live brand, which is huge because Mike Bennett, he has never been in WWE before, although Maria has been, so you would think that Mike Bennett would join the NXT brand so he can get some more experience in developmental. But that is rumored to be not the case, and he is going to be going to the SmackDown brand, according to reports, and his wife Maria Kanellis will join him. So let's get back to the story here. This is all about an introduction to Mike Bennett and Maria Kanellis to the SmackDown Live brand. And this story starts now. We're going to kick things off today, starting this Sunday. As you know, there is a pay-per-view called Backlash. It is a SmackDown Live exclusive brand pay-per-view, and it features all the top stars of SmackDown Live. And as you may know, there's a huge, well, I shouldn't say huge, but it's a pretty big 6-women tag team match. Natalya, Tamina Snuka, and Carmela going up against the team of Charlotte, Becky Lynch, and the SmackDown Women's Champion Naomi. The reason why I said this is a huge match, because this match pits 6 active women on the SmackDown Live brand against each other, so they will probably all get significant time in the ring to put on their own stuff, to do what they have to do, and get themselves over. So before this match takes place, the commentary hypes this match up. They hype this match up as a really, really big, really key integral match, especially with all the history that the women have with one another. And before the match takes place, as seen before at NXT takeovers, they pan the crowd. They pan the crowd for audience members, and not just any audience member, but a former WWE wrestler, either that or an unknown wrestler to the WWE universe, maybe a well-known wrestler to the universe, but who has not stepped foot in a WWE ring. And in this case, they're going to pan to Maria Kanellis. Now, Maria Kanellis will be sitting in her own hometown crowd in Chicago, Illinois during the Backlash pay-per-view, but the camera is going to focus on her, even though her husband is right there next to her. Her husband, Mike Bennett, will be sitting there right next to her as this is taking place, but camera focuses on Maria Kanellis, and commentary brings up that the former WWE diva is sitting there, but they do not mention her husband. This is the key of telling the whole story. You have to put the focus on Maria Kanellis. And that's it. That's all they're going to do for the Backlash pay-per-view. They're going to focus on Maria, although her husband will be in the shot right next to her. We will now travel to 2 days later on the May 23rd edition of SmackDown Live. And we're going to see Maria once again. Maria will be in the office of either Shane McMahon or Daniel Bryan, depending if Daniel Bryan will be back yet from his leave of absence now that he has had a child with his wife, Brie Bella. So we're going to see Maria Kanellis in the office of either Shane McMahon or Daniel Bryan. And Maria will say that this match has really given her that spark. She really feels like that she can come back to WWE. She really wants to come back to WWE. But she questions her abilities and brings up the success that she's had outside of WWE. As I mentioned before, earlier in the video, Maria, she has released an album. She has acted in numerous movies, and she's now going to school. She really is set on getting her master's degree, and she feels like she's not going to be in the world of professional wrestling for too much longer. So she's going to question her abilities of whether she really wants to come back, but she knows that the spark is there. And even though that spark is there, and even though it's questioned, either Shane McMahon or Daniel Bryan will say that they are very interested in Maria because, as she said, she's very successful in the past with WWE, and she's well known. She was on The Celebrity Apprentice. That's a big thing. I mean, granted, The Celebrity Apprentice isn't what it used to be, but still she has success. She has that name brand to her, and they were very interested in bringing that name to the SmackDown Live brand. And then as the segment ends, before it ends, Maria turns to her husband, Mike Bennett, for the first time, and Mike Bennett speaks on the WWE camera for the very first time and says that he supports her no matter what decision she makes, and he'll be by her side along the way. And that ends the segment for that week on SmackDown. That segment very well proves that the WWE is interested in Maria and Maria is interested in coming back. And you want the audience to know that Maria is on her way back to the WWE. The next week, we're going to take things to Talking Smack on the May 30th edition of Talking Smack. And Daniel Bryan, I hope he'll be back by then. He will announce to Renee Young and the Talking Smack audience that he has come to terms with Maria Kanellis on a SmackDown Live contract, and that she will report to the Performance Center in the coming weeks to get her training. It's been a while since she stepped into a WWE ring, and they want to make sure that she is ready to go. She is ready to go, and she can perform to the best of her abilities on the SmackDown Live brand. Now, Bryan and Renee Young will probably talk a little bit about Maria and her past and what she brings to the table, and that's what you want to do. You want the fans to know what Maria can do and what her name brand carries when she comes to SmackDown Live. Next week, we will go to the June 6th edition of SmackDown, where Maria and her husband, again, Mike Bennett, are backstage with Daniel Bryan. And Maria says that she's excited. She's very excited to train. She's very excited to compete on the SmackDown Live brand. And Bryan says that's all well and good, but we still want to make sure that you can train at the Performance Center. And in order to do that, they wanted to pair her with the best partner available. They want to make sure that she gets the best training that she possibly very well can. And she will receive the training from a perfect 10. That's right, she will get trained by Ty Dillon. Ty Dillon gets introduced then to Maria in the office. Mike Bennett looks on, and he doesn't look too thrilled. He seems a little off. He doesn't seem like he's okay with Ty Dillon training with his wife. But Maria, she's very excited to train with Ty Dillon, the perfect 10 of all people, and Ty is very excited to train with Maria as well. The next week, we will go to the June 13th edition of SmackDown, and we see a promo with Maria and Ty Dillon training at the Performance Center. They go through the basic motions. Maria looks pretty good in the ring along with Ty Dillon. He's showing her what she needs to do and what she needs to work on, even though she is a little rusty. Mike Bennett looks on from outside of the ring at the Performance Center with a watchful eye, while Maria and Ty Dillon are in a good mood. Again, you want to make sure the audience sees what Maria's putting in the work. She's a very, very likable character when she's a face, and we want to make sure that the fans know that she's very, very likable, along with Ty Dillon. He's very helpful. He is the perfect 10. He's very knowledgeable. But Mike Bennett, you got to watch out for him. There's something off about Mike Bennett. Now, in a few days after the June 13th edition of SmackDown, SmackDown Live hosts another pay-per-view, and it's the Money in the Bank pay-per-view. Ty Dillon will make an appearance once again on the SmackDown Live exclusive pay-per-view Money in the Bank, and he's asked about Maria's progress in the ring. And Ty admits that she is very, very rusty. I shouldn't say very rusty, but she is rusty in the ring, but she is showing a lot of potential, and he looks forward to her eventual debut, but she still needs to put in the work. It shows that she's coming along. This segment shows that she's coming along, and although she still has a little bit of ways to go, she will be ready shortly, and she will be ready to compete on SmackDown Live. Now, 2 days later, on this June 20th edition of SmackDown, we're going to see another promo with Ty Dillon and Maria training at the Performance Center. But in this promo, Maria botches a move. And Ty Dillon, he's a little upset about it, but he's very helpful and he's very willing to help Maria get around that botch and willing to move her back into place and say, hey, everything is okay here. You don't need to worry about that. It happens when you're rusty, and I know that you'll get better over time and you'll get ready to be back in that ring. But Mike Bennett, he's had enough. He goes off on Ty Dillon and says, man, you should not be the one who's training my wife. She deserves a better training partner than you. You may call yourself the perfect 10, but man, you are not the perfect 10. This training certainly is not. So Maria looks on her husband. She's very, I wouldn't say she's disgusted, but she's a little throttled by his actions. And then Mike Bennett grabs her out of the ring away from Ty Dillon, and Ty looks disappointed because he thought that he was just helping her out. He's helping Maria get back around in training, and Maria's a little upset that she has to leave the ring. It gets people feeling sympathy for Maria, and it feels sympathy for Ty Dillon, as well as, this Mike Bennett. Again, You want to make sure Mike Bennett isn't a likable guy. You don't want to make him seem like he's an abusive husband. You want to make Bennett feel like he's just very, very unlikable. That is the key to the story here, ladies and gentlemen. Now, the next week, on the June 27th edition of SmackDown, you see Ty Dillon. He walks in the office of Shane McMahon and Daniel Bryan, and they ask him, about Maria's progress. And Ty says that she's done very, very well, even though Mike Bennett could be a hassle at times to both Maria and himself. And with that said, Ty believes that she is very well ready for her first match back. So Shane McMahon and Daniel Bryan, they trust Ty Dillon and what he says. So they say, okay, next week, on the 4th of July edition of SmackDown Live, Maria is going to face Carmela in Maria's first match back to the company. And I guess it's 7 years. She left in 2010. So it'll be her first match back on SmackDown in over 7 years. So we go next week to the July 4th edition of SmackDown Live. We get ready for this big matchup between Carmela and Maria. Carmela's already in the ring. They probably would just skip her entrance, although I wouldn't. I feel like each and every person deserves their own time to get in the ring. Carmela's already there, either outside of the ring or in the ring. But we see Ty Dillon. Ty Dillon is the guest ring announcer for this match, and he introduces Maria all the way down to the ring. Maria's theme song plays. Out she comes with Mike Bennett by her side. He's accompanying her, as he said that he'd be with her there the whole way. Now, this match is very brief, but it's very impactful. Maria gets in some action as well as Carmela, and at one point, James Ellsworth even gets in this match. Ellsworth gets in the ring to try to break things up between Maria and Carmela, but Ty Dillon gets himself in the ring and gets him up in position for the tiebreaker. Then Maria, she was previously distracted as well as Carmela. She turns around, she gets Carmela up in position for a tiebreaker as well, and both Maria and Ty Dillon deliver a tiebreaker to James Ellsworth and Carmela. Maria gets the 1, 2, 3, wins the match, and Dillinger raises her hand as the victor. But Mike Bennett, though, gets in the ring again, yanks her away from Ty Dillon. He's very, very jealous of the relationship between the trainee and the trainer. Maria, in this scenario, she'd be very upset once again that her husband is interfering on her behalf because she wants to do this her own way. She really wants to do this. She's out to prove that she can hang with these women, as evidenced by her return at Backlash all the way back in May. Now up next is where our story takes a turn. We go to the July 11th edition of SmackDown Live. Before the show, as seen the last week, Shane McMahon and Daniel Bryan reviewed the footage, and James Ellsworth, he sort of interfered in the matchup between Maria and Carmela. So they make a mixed tag team match between Ty Dillon and Maria up against James Ellsworth and Carmela. Now it's a nice little match for what it is, but towards the end of the match, Mike Bennett, he starts to argue with Ty Dillon. He feels like Ty isn't doing things the right way, and he should be doing it a different way. And he starts to argue with him, and they really get going at it, and it causes Maria to take her eye off of the match. Carmela then gets Maria down on the ground and makes her tap out to her finisher. Maria taps out, Carmela and Ellsworth win the match, due to distraction in part thanks to Mike Bennett. After the match is over, Ty checks on Maria. He gets in the ring and checks on her to see how she's doing. But Maria, she's quite loopy. She just tapped out. She was choked out by Carmela. And she slowly gets up with the help of Ty. But then she slaps Ty Dillon in retaliation. And Ty's shocked. He has no idea why Maria would slap the heck out of him. And then she has a smug smile on her face. Dillinger gets turned around by Mike Bennett, who starts pummeling him. He pummels him down to the ground, beats him up, and really does the damage to Ty Dillinger. And afterwards, Mike Bennett and Maria stand over the prone body of Ty Dillinger to end the segment. Maria has turned, and she is aligned with her husband, Mike Bennett, after weeks of frustration, after weeks of getting knocked around. Mike Bennett has had enough. He's taken it out on Ty Dillinger, and Maria, she's completely fine with it. This is huge because for weeks we thought she was very upset with the abuse that she was taking by her husband. And this really, really floors the audience because we thought Maria, she was that likable character. And Mike, man, he was that one who was a thorn in her side. And we felt sorry for Maria, but now she's took a turn on us, the viewer, the audience. And we feel bad for Ty Dillinger. He put in all that hard work only to get thrown down on the ground and beaten up for it. So the next week on SmackDown Live, before the go-home show to Battleground, Maria and Mike are standing in the ring, and Maria explains the only reason why she returned to WWE in the first place is because she wanted to get her husband in the door. Her husband is a world travel wrestler, and he was not getting the look that he deserved in the past how many years that he's been a professional wrestler. And the only way for him to get in here to WWE was for her to return, and their plan worked. So Daniel Bryan or Shane McMahon, one of them either comes out and says they were fooled. But if Mike Bennett believes that he was automatically has a contract just because his wife does, think again. He has to earn it. So he's going to make a grudge match here for Battleground. Mike Bennett versus Ty Dillon. And if Mike Bennett wins, he gets his contract with SmackDown Live. And they're very happy about him. Mike and Maria are very happy. They're celebrating. But then Shane O'Brien says, one condition. If you lose this match, Mike Bennett, you and your wife can never be seen on this brand again. And then they start to get upset. They start to throw a tantrum. Maria looks like she's going to say, no, I don't agree to this. But Mike grabs the mic from her. Mike grabs the mic. Mike grabs the microphone from her and says, you got it. I'm in this match. I know I could beat the perfect 10 Ty Dillon. So we travel to Battleground on July 23rd in Philadelphia. Mike Bennett versus Ty Dillon. The two have a decent little match, maybe about 12 minutes long. It's a little back and forth. Ty gets some offense in. It looks like he's about to win. But then Maria gets up with the apron, distracts Ty, and then bam. Mike Bennett wins 1, 2, 3 with the distraction. Mike Bennett is your victor. This finish is done. So Mike Bennett gets the heat. Maria gets the heat. And you feel bad for Ty Dillon. You really feel bad for him that he went through all this hard work to get Maria prepared and ready to go to become a nice WWE superstar going up against all the women on the SmackDown Live roster. And he just gets thrown down to the ground. He gets beaten around for it. Just so Mike Bennett could get his own contract. So you want to get the heat on Mike Bennett. You want to get the heat on Maria. And you want to feel bad for Ty Dillon and get the fans behind him. Now, after Battleground, you could do the rematch on the SmackDown Live afterwards or the week ahead. So Ty Dillon can get his win back. And he can prove to Maria and he can prove to Mike Bennett that he's a force to be reckoned with. And you really want to get the fans behind Ty Dillon and you really want to get the fans against Mike Bennett and his wife, Maria. Now, in the weeks ahead after that, you can have Mike go in many different directions, but you really need to get the fans behind Ty Dillon. You want to get Ty as this likable baby face. And he is. He's a very, very likable character. And I feel like this feud would really get the fans behind Ty Dillon. And then from there on out with Mike Bennett and Maria, now that they have their contract with SmackDown Live, you can put them up against any face, really. You have to have them continue to be these scummy heels so you really get people against them. I mean, you could have them go up against Mojo Rawley. I feel like that could be like a little SummerSlam feud, maybe on the pre-show. Then after that, you can move them on to Randy Orton, John Cena. I feel like John Cena versus Mike Bennett could be actually a very, very good feud. You can even have him go up against Daniel Bryan. I mean, Daniel Bryan won't be able to wrestle. We can have that tension there between general manager and wrestler and manager, much like The Miz and Maurice were to Daniel Bryan for the past year or so. So this was the story, an introduction to Mike Bennett and Maria Kanellis to SmackDown Live. I hope you enjoyed. And for more information on Storyline Time, follow the Storyline Time Twitter. Make sure you subscribe for more stories about the past, the present, and the future in the world of professional wrestling. My name is Shane, and this was Storyline Time.